Hi, everyone. Raj Gavrola. Welcome to Experiencing Intelligent Breakthroughs in Your Sports Performance and Life. And this week we're learning about solving your performance gap and the 7 strategies to solve a performance gap. Today we'll go over strategy 1. And strategy 1 simply is identifying and proving the performance gap, identifying and proving the performance gap. And the reason that you want to identify and prove the performance gap is because from that you can determine whether or not it's really worth pursuing. Are you going to derive or get the benefits or the outcomes that you're looking for so that it has the value that you can go towards, the practical rewards, whatever those rewards may be to you. And the reason that we need to prove it is because, again, if you're going to put in the time, the effort, the work, the energy, all the learning, etc., to do it, then you're going to need to know pretty early on that it's viable, that it's worth doing so. It has value. And this is what I help my clients with, help their team with, is just coming in there and identifying what they think might be a performance gap and helping them to prove it or not prove it. Sometimes it's really not. And here's one thing that you need to really look at is to look and see, are there errors occurring? And if there are errors occurring, then that's what's causing the performance gap. And it could be errors in the process, or it could be human performance factors or variable errors. So you have the actual traditional knowledge of athletics, of whatever sport you may be in, and you're going to always be learning technique or some of these other areas that your coaches work with, training regimen, some more educative stuff, recovery, all of those kind of things. And recovery, amongst other things, is what I call human performance factors or variables. And this is where I help a lot of my clients with, because they don't have the knowledge. This is not something, this is sort of specialized knowledge, specialized expertise on things like energy regulation, self-regulation, being in the moment, managing the moment, mindfulness, being able to feed your motivation and inspiration to resonate with you. Not everybody's motivated and inspired by the same thing. Being able to identify, create and make and identify why and what to do and how to do it to make a breakthrough. And most people don't have a breakthrough process. And then how to evaluate it, measure it. Fear is one area, anxiety, attention span, being able to calm yourself, emotional control, your mood, and of course having a positive attitude or a can-do type of attitude. And really having the right support system, because obviously I don't take away the accomplishments of my client. I mean, they did do most of everything that they receive, it's theirs. What I do is I help and I support. And I do that with the mental performance tools, the life tools. And so those are the type of variables, recovery being another variable, strength, injury prevention, health management, those kind of things. And then also being able to react intelligently in interaction and communication in your relationships, whether they be with your teammates, your coaches, whomever. And so some of my clients, they use my workbook, and what they find is that, and I've seen clients do this before, that it can't be this easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be difficult. And the reason is because they keep hearing how in order to get here, here, here in whatever sport they're in, that it's going to take this, 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 and everybody puts all these obstacles in front of you, and therefore amygdala gets all fearful and backs away, right? Instead of showing you the practical rewards and how to be intelligent and create those breakthroughs. And a lot of times it's those human performance variables or factors that need to be tuned. You need to have the mental performance tools to get through it. You know, sometimes it's as simple as a phrase, and you could have several of them, but like, do one thing at a time, or do for my team, or do for the team, whatever it may be. Okay, concentration is another one. And so what I'm saying, energy is another one. What I'm saying is when you have all of those human performance variables, if you could have all of those at the maximum or at the peak or the high performance level or in the zone is what I like to use, level, then it's going to make everything else easier, right? Imagine it being like someone telling you to go do something, whether it's in your sport or it's outside of your sport in your life, and you're already tired and they're wanting you to do this. Well, because you're already tired, you're not going to have as great a concentration, the amount of energy, the amount of focus, the amount of motivation, inspiration, the attention, the concentration. Your mood is not going to feel as amped up to do it. You see what I mean? All of these things are interfering. There'd be a little bit of anxiety because you know you're tired. There'll be a little bit of fear because you're tired. And so all of these factors, stress, they start to come in. And these are what I call the human performance and life breakthrough factors. And when you learn the tools to be able to learn how to regulate those factors, and not only regulate them, but how to optimize those, then it makes everything else easier and you will experience more intelligent sports performance and life breakthroughs. And so that's strategy one, is to identify and prove the performance gap. In graduate school, and of course, even when I worked, I just remember learning to prove the gap, prove the gap. Because a lot of times people think there's a gap because objectively they see it, but they can't prove it. And what I mean by that is they can't prove it to the point to where they're confident of going to the next step or the next strategy. And therefore they're sort of hung in this limbo, just sort of waiting for it to go away, or thinking that, you know, hey, just had an off day or whatever it may be. You know, they come up with some type of justification. And I'm not saying that I'm against justifications. I think they're, you know, very valid. In fact, that's what I tell a lot of my clients. It's very valid. You're being asked to, for example, an easy example, to screw in a screw into the wall and you don't have a screwdriver. Well, you know, you don't have that tool. That'd be like someone telling you to, you know, play basketball at a very high level when you're a tennis player. Or you're a tennis player and they want you to play football or run track or whatever. I mean, you just don't have the traditional knowledge skills as well as the human performance and life breakthrough skills. And that's where I really focus on, is the human performance and life breakthrough skills. And of course, you need to be learning and understanding and having the right information or receiving the right feedback and knowing how to, if someone's criticizing you, to react and be able to educate them to say that in the way that you can, which is what I help a lot of my clients with, and that is that, I don't mind the feedback, etc. But if you're going to give me that feedback, I'm making more double faults, or I'm not lifting my knees, or I'm not bending my knees, whatever it may be, I'm not following through, whatever it may be. Or, I'm in a bad mood once I come home, and I still have life to live and people to, be a part of their life as well, whatever it may be, then you need to realize then that, you can ask them for a tip, especially if it's a coach. I had a coach, a tennis coach, and he would always talk to me, and his favorite thing was no double faults, consistent second serve. That's your problem, consistent second serve. He would sometimes start saying that before I even got out there and really started warming up and playing. And I knew we were going to work on that. But immediately he puts that into my mind, and he's not giving me any tips or strategies. He just wants consistent second serves. And so finally one day, I had to educate him and say, listen, I want the same thing you want. Believe me, I want it more than you want it, most likely. But you're going to have to give me some instruction, a tip, some knowledge, an intelligent breakthrough on making that happen. And when he sees that, then he's able to give me that. And sometimes I think he does that just to see how I will react, whether my mood or the way I approach the game will change. And, after a while, at the beginning, it didn't really affect me because, I know he has good intentions. But then after a while, when it became repetitive sometimes, every other week or whatever, I was like, this isn't going to work. I need someone to really have mutual support of one another. And so I explained that to him, and I have him doing my workbook, and he tells me the same thing. He says that, your workbook, yeah, it's good and everything, but it takes commitment. I'm like, yeah, of course. Just like me coming out here playing tennis and doing what I need to do takes commitment. Yeah, it does. But here it is. It's this. It's that when something is making it easier for you to achieve and accomplish, why do you stop doing it? And that's something that I've asked my client before. I've asked myself that before. And for me sometimes is that I almost feel like my mind tells me sometimes like, well, it's not supposed to be that easy. Well, yeah, it is, because now you have the screwdriver and you can screw in the screw into the wall. See? And so that's what I have for you this week. Hope you have a meaningful trigger for this evening. I know I do. First of all, I already had my exercise today. I went to my exercise functional physiology trainer, and I went and I practiced basketball. And so my evenings are tonight. I'm really just catching up with just doing some really things that I normally don't get some time to do. Probably do some sketching and just surf the news a little. I don't really do too much with the computer at night because I'm on the computer during the day. And maybe do a little reading, which I do every day. So that's not really a meaningful trigger. But it could be that, just rest and relaxation in an active way. And that's important to have it in an active way. And so this week, the zone effect. What is the zone effect? Well, you know that the zone is when you're making some type of performance breakthrough or improvement, and you're really making that effort, and you are doing it to where time's not a deterring factor and it feels effortless. Well, what I did was I watched a video of Steve Nash shooting baskets by himself for 20 minutes. And I saw what he did and you know how he responded to it, etc. And so I shoot baskets when I play basketball, and usually it's by myself if I'm not on a team, and just working on my shot, my ball handling, etc., just various moves, things like that. So I did his workout for 20 minutes. And it was just nice to be able to do a workout that an NBA player does for 20 minutes in shooting the basketball. And so he's in constant motion for 20 minutes shooting the basketball from close in, as well as far back, as well as driving, as well as simulating a pick and roll, floaters. And it's a lot of fun. So that's my zone effect for this week. If something here helps you or resonates with you, you can contact me at 864-569-2315 or at rajgavrola.com if you're interested.